Hello and welcome to Flightline, your weekly window into the aviation world. I'm Nigel Everton. Here's what's happening in commercial aviation this week. Story 1. New and proposed routes. Azerbaijan Airlines will bring back flights from Baku to Tehran starting September 1st, operating 4 times weekly on Embraer E190 aircraft. They've also launched service from Baku to Tabriz, Iran, beginning September 3rd, flying twice a week. Story 2. Seasonal routes. Looking ahead to winter, Air China plans 4 weekly Airbus A320 flights between Hangzhou and Hanoi, beginning October 26th. Arkia of Israel will add 2 routes, twice weekly to Bangkok from November 26th and weekly to Hanoi starting January 5th, both flown by Airbus A330-200s. Meanwhile, Air Arabia Abu Dhabi will run a twice-weekly Airbus A320 service from Abu Dhabi to Yekaterinburg between late October and late March. Story 3. Suspended and dropped routes. On the cut list, Lufthansa will suspend flights between Frankfurt and St. Louis in February. Alaska Airlines will end several winter routes, including Los Angeles to Monterey, and 4 others: Fresno to Guadalajara, Kansas City to Puerto Vallarta, Orlando to Boise, and Orlando to Sacramento. JetBlue will also discontinue daily Boston to Miami flights starting September 2nd. Delta has decided not to resume its seasonal Detroit and Minneapolis service to Tulum this winter. Story 4. Southwest route cuts. Southwest Airlines is trimming its network by nearly 30 routes by the first week of March. The chart we shared this week is long, but the headline is simple. There are fewer places to fly with Southwest soon. Story 5. Air Canada FA strike ends. Air Canada's flight attendant strike, the first in 40 years, has ended. The cabin crew reached a tentative agreement with the airline after federal intervention and binding arbitration. The strike began August 16th over unpaid ground duties, wages, and working conditions. While details aren't public, Air Canada reportedly offered a 38% pay increase over 4 years, deemed insufficient by the union. Operations are gradually resuming. Story 6. Reindeer hunting delay. In Greenland, a United Airlines flight from Nuuk was delayed by 3 hours because ground-based security staff skipped work to join the annual reindeer hunting season. The flight took off at 12:13 p.m. instead of 9 and landed in Newark mid-afternoon. Passengers were frustrated, but many understood the cultural importance of the tradition. Story 7. Onboard biohazard. An inbound flight to Indianapolis was scrubbed after a passenger suffered severe food poisoning mid-air, allegedly from an undercooked hamburger eaten in Portugal. The passenger became incapacitated, turning the restroom into a biohazard. Crew intervened, and the aircraft was sanitized before the next rotation. Story 8. Qantas ordered to pay. Qantas has been ordered by the Australian Federal Court to pay $90 million Australian dollars after laying off over 1,800 ground staff during the pandemic and replacing them with contractors. The airline had already paid $120 million Australian dollars in compensation. The penalty includes $50 million for union funds and $40 million for future claims. Story 9. Airport traffic drops. June passenger traffic in Oakland, California fell 20% compared to a year earlier. Year-to-date figures show a 16% overall drop, the biggest decline among major U.S. airports. Story 10. A 4A leadership change. Chris Sununu, former governor of New Hampshire, will become the next president and CEO of airlines for America in September. he'll succeed Nick Callio, who's led the organization since 2011. Story 11. Airline shut down. Raven, Alaska, a key air carrier for rural communities, ceased operations after nearly 77 years. Approximately 270 employees are now out of work, and Alaska Airlines has organized a job fair to help displaced staff. Story 12. Frontier Loyalty Perk. Frontier is offering instant elite gold status for $69, good through December 2026, to loyalty members of Southwest, Alaska, JetBlue, and Spirit. Gold status brings perks like free carry-ons, priority boarding, premium seats, and upgrades. Story 13. Lufthansa 787 headache. 15 of Lufthansa's Boeing 787-9s are sidelined in the US due to seat certification delays. Their complaint: a Collins Aerospace Allegri's cabin that hasn't cleared FAA checks. Lufthansa may operate the aircraft with blocked seats or altered configurations to get them back in the sky. Story 14. Qatar's JFK Lounge. Qatar Airways will open its first US-exclusive lounge at New York's JFK Terminal 1 in 2026. The 15,000-square-foot space will offer VIP check-in, fine dining, boarding access, and dedicated transfers. Story 15. Norse Atlantic Q2. Norse Atlantic saw its available seat kilometers rise 105% year-over-year in Q2. Passenger numbers nearly doubled, revenue climbed 65%, and load factor hit 82.1%. Unit costs ex-fuel fell 35%. The airline will retire its 787-8s and focus on 787-9s, shifting toward more ACMI and charter flying. Story 16. ANA's AI turbulence. All Nippon Airways is the first airline to adopt Blue WX's AI turbulence prediction system. Trials involving 2,500 pilots showed 86% accuracy. The system will enhance safety and comfort, and ANA may roll it out globally soon. Story 17. Air Baltic traffic. In July, Air Baltic carried 539,300 passengers, down 4% year-on-year, but recorded its highest ever 7-month traffic total at nearly 2.9 million, up 4.6%. Its load factor stood above 86%. Story 18. U.S. passenger traffic, May. In May 2025, U.S. airlines carried 85.2 million scheduled passengers, both domestic and international, according to BTS data. Story 19. Mexican airport investments. Acapulco and Ixtapa-Zihuatanejo airports will benefit from a $50 million modernization, splitting investments nearly equally. Work aims to boost capacity to 2.3 million annual passengers, improve safety, and upgrade amenities by 2026 to 2030. Closing. That's your Flightline briefing for August 21st, 2025. If you enjoyed today's stories, visit flightline.news for photos, charts, and deeper coverage. I'm Nigel Everton. Thanks for listening, and fly safe.